Hello class, my name is Lynn and welcome to my week 7 presentation. To start off, this article talks about organization dispute resolution as complementary, meaning different components into one system. The components that the article talks about are right-based processes, meaning legal procedures and contracts. Then you got the interest-based neutrals, meaning the mediators, and the negotiated processes, which are the agreements and negotiations. So together as a complementary system, any conflict or even just one single conflict can be resolved through multiple components, and the limitations of each type of component are mitigated through interaction with the other components in the system. So the next article is by Welch. It's about often strategy, acronyms for observation. So that's to recognize problematic situation objectively based on events. And then you have feelings. It's how one feels about the situation. Then thinking, a process where you share what you're thinking. And then expectations, articulating expectations for all the involved parties. And negotiation, to brainstorm possible ways to meet those expectations. And the effective teaching and training for these new skills involves in 3 basic steps: model and demonstrate, practice, and feedback. So it's a tool empirically proven. It's meant for consultations and professionals to use, such as a mediator or a negotiator. So moving on to the third article, it's by Witzman and Witzman. It's about protocol for interpersonal conflict resolution training. In the article, the authors suggest some strategies for conflict resolution training. These strategies are active listening, meaning to listen to the speaker without making comments, and then perspective taking, to imagine yourself in the speaker's positions. Then moves to reframing, which is to avoid that me against you attitude or you against me attitude. And brainstorming is to come up with various solutions. And the way to train, according to the authors, is to role play among the trainees. And this article, like the 2 previous ones, are found on the Cal Baptist online database. For the video, I selected a YouTube video called Interpersonal Conflict Management Strategies. The video discusses the different strategies to manage conflict. The first is collaborating, which reflects a high concern for both your interests and the interests of the other party. Then you have compromising, which is when each side makes a trade-off. And competing, which refers to your interests as higher than others. And accommodating is a cooperative conflict management style. This means that you sacrifice yourself to satisfy the need of the other party. And then finally, avoiding, which is a style where you ignore the conflict or deny that it even exists. The conflict that could occur in a public sector is the unfair distribution of workload. For example, employee A is given employee B's cases because he has fallen behind when employee A completed all his work on time. This causes employee A to feel taken advantage of, and that management is being unfair, so there is resentment and hostility coming from employee A. So for the dispute resolution design, formal discussion and negotiation is the most appropriate, since the conflict is between 2 people and possibly their supervisor. And through this design, they can discuss their feelings, clear up misunderstanding, and come up with solutions and compromise. The dispute resolution design is informal. It's the least cost, and there's the least need for a third party. And for conflict management skills training, it should focus on facilitating proactive skills for preventing conflict before it escalates, non-defensive behavior through listening empathy, which is very appropriate for a formal discussion. And differences in communication style. So the conflict's most likely a miscommunication. And techniques to teach these topics would be case studies to analyze from employees' experiences within the organization, role playing to get experience, but also to take the perspective of the other person, and group discussion to come up with a problem-solving model and get ideas from each other. So this concludes my presentation. Thank you. Have a wonderful week.